What's up, everybody? I'm making another video. Just watching and listening. Back in the day, I'm old enough to say that now, right? But for real, back in the day, it was probably like 2000, not even 2000, right? It was probably 1998, 99, possibly 2000. And the government had this thing for reparations like they got now. Side note, I just think it's ridiculous. I don't care what illegal immigrant is coming in. I really don't. Illegal person, you know, that's coming in to our country. But the fact that this administration, our government, period, politicians, period, are wanting to give reparations to illegal immigrants, something's up with that. Anyway, 99, 98, 99, 2000, they had this 20 acres and a mule thing, right? And what you had to do was by a certain time, certain date, you had to fill out all this information like who your grandma was, who your grandfather was, who was a slave, and how you were supposed to have all that traced. And I remember like thinking in the ideology, the democratic ideology, it was like this 20 acres and a mule. And I remember it was soon after the first barbershop came out with Ice Cube, right? And they were making fun about that. But it was this idea that if you sent in all this information to this particular place, that and you could prove that you had slaves in your family, that you had black folks in your family that were treated wrong, redlined, all this other stuff, right? Things I understand a whole lot better now, that you would get 20 acres and a mule and some payoff, right? And I remember thinking about that and doing it, but I remember doing it thinking, man, I'm about to get paid, this is going to be awesome, man. And we weren't even really thinking about the tragedy or the hard times that my grandfather, my grandmother, some uncles, some aunts, my ancestors, period, went through so that, what is that? So that I could have the life I have now. Not so that I could just get paid off 20 acres and a mule. What am I going to do with 20 acres, bro? For real. What was I going to do with 20 acres and a mule? At the time I lived in Alaska, there was plenty of land that I didn't have to fight for in Alaska to just go hang out on. And I didn't need a mule in Alaska. My mom wouldn't have let me keep a mule at the house anyway. That's real. But the ideology was, I'm gonna get reparations what my ancestors did for me. Cause we all slaves shucking and jiving here. Get out of my face, man. I'm so sick of that. And I'm sure that there was men and women, black men and black women at that time when I was younger, feeling the same way because they knew my history and I didn't know. I didn't understand the power play that was being done at that time. And it's the same thing now. It's a power play. It's a nefarious power play. Help me understand, right? So I do not support Black Lives Matter organization. I don't. And if you got some feelings behind that, you know, cry me a river and then come back and talk with me when it's all dried up. Really. Um, 90 million plus dollars. And you got people that were working in these communities, black and white alike, trying to help the community that, like Chicago, like Illinois, like Michigan, places in California, places even in Alaska, and all over the nation where people needed help, right? And you mean to tell me raised all this money, raised all this ruckus, and you ain't got nothing to show for it but heartache, tears, and dead bodies? Come on. Come on. Get with it. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. Especially if I tell them, no, I'm not oppressed. They sold the same lie, the same ideology, the same democratic ideology and philosophy. You're oppressed. You need help. And you need to understand that your ancestors, man, if they were alive now, they would be oppressed too. My ancestors fought hard. They made some sacrifices for me so I could be where I'm at now. You know where I work? I work, one, in America. Two, I work at a predominantly white church. Hey, guess what? A lot of these folks, we don't agree on everything, and that's all right. And funny enough, some of them, some, are more supportive of Black Lives Matter and CRT, critical race theory, than I definitely am. They're ready to tell me, you're oppressed. You need to understand the oppression. Grew up with it. Why do I need to understand what I grew up with? I tell the kids I work with, like, you need to understand. I grew up with this. I was this before this ever came out to be so popular. I did these things. I believed this ideology that I was oppressed, that all the cops were after me, that I could get shot at and killed anytime. I believed it. And I'm not saying that stuff doesn't happen, but dog, when I started sitting down with police, men, women, white, black, Hispanic, all, and having solid conversations, that fear went away. And to be honest, to be straight 100 with you, a lot of the times, not all, but a lot of the times that I was afraid of the police was because I was doing something I shouldn't have been doing in the first place. And that's a lot of folks today. Doing something they shouldn't be doing in the first place. You keep it 100, but you got Black Lives Matter coming in these communities. You got critical race theory being taught and practiced in these communities. You got Antifa. Oh, and that's another thing, Antifa. Any of you recall when people started talking about Antifa and the media, at large, tried to say, no, that's not real. Antifa's not real. It's not real. And then people were like, oh, okay, well, maybe it's not real. And then, boom, we're Antifa. Here we are. Anybody remember that? Same thing. Same thing happening now. Same thing. Same old trick. Same old rhetoric. Same old mind game. You gotta be joking me. I was talking to a dude, it's a friend of mine. Care about him. White dude. And we were talking, and I was telling him, I was like, yeah, I don't support Black Lives Matter, the organization. I support the reality that Black Lives Matter. Sure, I'm a black dude. Yeah, but that doesn't mean that I don't think any lives matter outside of Black lives. Absolutely not. But he was sharing, was like, well, I got some black friends, and they said that they're really afraid of the police. And they told me about their experiences, and I just think that there's something with that. And I said, look, man, here's where I'm from. Like, my life was threatened And if you've listened to any of my videos, I've told that story. My life has been threatened, by the police. I was in the wrong place at the right time. It doesn't dismiss the fact that, yeah, they could have done a better job, but I was where I shouldn't have been. And I told him like this too. I said it's like the boogeyman, right? Like as a kid, I don't know how many of you remember the boogeyman or still think that the boogeyman is still under your bed, right? But like I remember thinking, man, don't look under your bed or don't look in your closet because the boogeyman's either under your bed or in the closet. Like the boogeyman was real for me as a kid. The boogeyman ain't real. We know that. If you still believe in the boogeyman like Santa Claus, you better get your mind checked, bro. But it's like this. We have treated police and even EMTs, anybody that wears any type of badge, we've treated them like the boogeyman. We've been told this Tales from the Crypt kind of scenario. You better watch out for those police. They're out to get you. You better watch out for those security guards. You better watch out for the white man. They have to get you. They have to get you. And you start believing that. If you hear it enough, you will believe it. If I tell somebody enough that they are stupid, if I tell somebody enough that they are ugly, if I tell somebody enough that they're intelligent, if I tell somebody enough that they're beautiful, if I tell somebody enough that they were made on purpose and with purpose, they'll believe it. They'll believe it. If you're told enough that there's a boogeyman under your bed or riding behind you or whatever, you're going to believe it. Well, here's the deal. If you're not taught how to think, if you're not taught not what to think, but how to think and to observe and to really critically think, you'll believe that the boogeyman is real, that Santa Claus is real, that the cops are all cops are out to get you. Matter of fact, there was a dude, a cop that worked for the police in Oakland for, I think it was, I want to say 29 years. He was here in the past couple of days. Retired, was out getting some gas, and these three thugs, because that's what they are. I don't care that they're black. I really don't. They're thugs. And they went to stick him up. He's retired. He ain't got nothing on but his plain clothes, minding his own business, getting some gas. And they come and try to stick this dude up. Thankfully, he had his piece. He got shot 6 times. And he took one of the dudes out. Now, I'm not celebrating the fact that one of those young men lost their life. But what do you expect? Now, let that have been him when he was a cop. Oh, man. We would have been rioting. Black cop kills black upcoming rapper. In misunderstanding at a gas station. Man, get out of my face. For real. Get out of my face. You look at Chicago, Lightfoot, who's killing that state, who is a special interest, puppet, really, because she doesn't do anything but, stir up the pot. So they got this whole thing, basically mutual combat. It's a stupid, retarded law. And I do mean those words, stupid, dumb, and retarded. That if 2 people are engaged, I'll just tell you the story. Matter of fact, it's real. They caught it on video. Look it up. These 2 boys get into it. They get into it outside of one of their homes, and the boy had followed this. There are 2 teens, 2 black boys. One had followed the other home, and they're fighting out in the neighborhood. One of the boys had a knife. The other one didn't. And as they're fighting, this other boy that got the knife is just sticking it, pop, pop, you know. And so the video freezes. Uh, it freezes so it doesn't show all of it, right? But the one teen boy, get this. This is so stupid and so nefarious. He murders this other teen boy. Black on black crime. That's what it is. And he doesn't get charged for murder, first degree murder. He gets charged as a misdemeanor for mishandling of a weapon. Because it was mutual combat. Now a mom is without her son, where's his father at? Because he should have been in the home showing him how to be a young man who is a protector, as well as a provider, as well as a nurturer. Where's his dad at? Now his mom don't got her son no more. And this other boy just got off because it was mutual combat. So is that what we're going to call black on black crime now? Just mutual combat? We'll just let them do what they want to do. It's mutual combat. Where's the rioting for them? That would be something you should riot about. Where's the outcry for them? Huh? Where's that at? Black Lives Matter. But it really wouldn't matter at all, really, because any money that would have been raised if Black Lives Matter gave two flips about them, it wouldn't have helped their families anyway, because that's how Patrisse Cullors and all her cronies work. I'm just honest. I'm sick of people, but I'm definitely sick of white folks trying to tell me that I'm wrong because I don't get down with CRT and BLM. I grew up with the stuff. I know it. I'm not woke. I woke up, but I'm not woke. How crazy is this? How crazy, man. It's so stupid. It's literally stupid. And it's just a blinding of the mind. This philosophy that has us just stuck, And now you got black communities that got duped and are being duped by this whole Black Lives Matter organization, this critical race theory ideology that is so nefarious. I don't care. It's about power. It's about power. I don't care. Antifa rolls up, starting some mess and getting people hyped, race baiting and whatnot. And where does it leave the communities that they go to? In worse condition than when they first came. Your parents ever teach you leave a place better than what you found it? They're doing the exact opposite. The ideology was, we're going to help. We're going to lift the community up. But we got to do it by fighting back with all this and all this and whatever you can find. And we're going to burn stuff down. And then they leave. The smoke settles, the dust settles, the fires are put out. And families and the people of the community are left sitting there like, what happened? I thought things were going to be better because what happened? You got played is what happened. And you're getting played is what's happening. How about that? I'm not saying that there aren't disparities. I'm not saying that. I know that there's disparities. But I'll tell you what. The disparities begin with the family. Men, if you can't stay with your families, you are a disparity starter. Women, if you can't stay with your families, you are a disparity starter. Mom, dad, if you just let culture raise your kids, you are a disparity starter. Kids, if you think that you know everything, that you got it all figured out, you don't. You're a disparity starter. Stop letting the government run your family. I remember when I was a kid, I saw it even then. I think I said this in another video, right? I'm gonna have to look it up. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna look it up right now. The first kid in America to divorce his parents, right? It really happened. Really happened. Now we just call it amnesty, or not amnesty. I have to think of the word, but you could just leave and I'll give you your papers. I'm gonna think of the word. First kid in America to divorce his parents. Hold tight. It was in 1992. Sean Russ, Googled it, right? They know him as Gregory Kingsley. Became the first child to legally sever with parents. The televised case, I remember watching it, grabbed the nation's attention and set the precedent for fellow children after Russ, or fellow nations' attention, precedent to fellow children after Russ said he hoped it would encourage other young people to take action to gain their happiness. Ooh, to gain their happiness. Emancipation, that's the word. Well, you could just emancipate then. Man, get on my face. Now, here's what I'm not saying. That there aren't hard situations in families that somebody needs to step in. But I tell you who does not need to step in is the government. So the family members. That's who needs to be stepping in. But I remember growing up, especially as a kid, 6, 7, it started then. Well, I'm just going to call the cops if you touch me. Where do you think I got that idea from? They were starting that idea and ideology way back then. I remember my dad, I'm just going to tell you what he said, right? Because I tried it one day. Now, I'm not saying that kids need to get beat. Some kids need to get whooped, popped. But anyway, so I'm gonna call the police. My dad was gutsy enough to go ahead and tell me, all right then, call the police. I'm gonna be whooping your ass until they get here. I'm gonna whoop their ass when they get here. I'm gonna whoop your ass again when I get out. Didn't call the police. What's the point of me telling that story? It's not saying that it's okay to abuse your kids. It's not. Never. But at an exponential rate, children have been empowered in this country to tell parents that they will parent themselves and they don't have the right to be the parent to the child that they gave birth to or had part in giving birth to fathers. And And even before then, the government was coming in. Welfare. They came in. We're going to help you. We're going to help you. Here's a cash subsidy. Here's some food. But you got to do what we say if you want to keep it. This stuff happened with the uprising Planned Parenthood, with kids being making sure that they couldn't have kids, boys and girls. There was a grandma taking care of her daughter, her granddaughter, and she was illiterate. And the government came in and said, you need to sign these papers, and unless you sign these papers, we're going to take away your food stamps and your subsidies. So what does grandma do? She signs it. She thinks she's doing the right thing, right? And as the granddaughter grows up, she's trying to figure out, why in the world can't I have kids? Why can't I have kids? Remember that piece of paper that got signed? It was a contract. The contract said, you will let us, oh gosh, I can't even think of the right word, but you're going to let us make your granddaughter infertile. They did it all the time. All of the time. It was a part of Planned Parenthood's design for eugenics to create a pure race. They continued to do it for a long time. The government stepped in. Parents felt like they couldn't take care of their kids because kids were wilding out. And at some point, government said, we're here to stay. And your kids, those aren't your kids anymore. They're our kids. And you belong to us too. I'm like, whoa. So I'm glad my dad said what he said. And I'm glad parents that still say that to their kids, however they need to get it across to them, like, you belong to me. You don't belong to the government. The government didn't give birth to you. The government ain't paying for your shirts. Even if you're getting some subsidy from the government so you can get, some clothes or whatnot, those are your kids. They're your responsibility. Men, what? You good enough to lay down and get down, but ain't good enough to stay around? Ladies, it ain't that good just to have a kid or get, lay down and be like, well, I'll just go to the abortion clinic, and take care of it that way. You're more valuable than that, ladies. You're more valuable than that, men. I don't need to beat you over the head. That's not the point of saying anything about abortion other than this. You're valuable. Your life is valuable. Ladies, if the dudes in your life aren't going to encourage you to become all that you can be in your beautiful self, tell them to kick rocks. Men, if the women in your life aren't going to encourage you to stand up and be a man and reach your full potential, let her go. Let her go. Because here's what you need. Women need a man that's going to stand with you and encourage you to be all that you're created to be, on purpose and with purpose. Men, you ain't got, if you got one of these women that just wants to, just do all this crazy stuff too. You need a woman that's going to stand with you and encourage you to become all that you're to be as a man, on purpose and with purpose. And that's not to say men are there's some things that men just do that women don't do. There are things that women do that men don't do. But there are things indefinitely that men and women do together that is beautiful, as we were created to be. That's just the facts, man. There's a beauty in men and women getting together having a family within the confines of marriage. There's a beauty in that. There's a strength in that. And the lie has been that there is no strength in that. We've had too many families that have been just torn apart over the past few decades because of weakness or because of this idea that we've just fallen into, that we don't need marriage to be happy. We don't need marriage to raise an effective family. It doesn't mean that there's not... I don't just want to be happy. I want to be effective. I want to be purposeful. I know things are going to be tough when I get married in different areas. But man, I know that I will become my best with my equal, with my woman. That's how we're created. That's how we're created. To be efficient. And so, I mean, just going back to it, ladies, if you ain't going to be with a dude, and there's, we need to raise men up to be this too. But if you ain't going to be with a dude that's going to encourage you to be all that you can be as you were created, beautiful and priceless, tell them to kick rocks. Men, you ain't going to be with the women that are going to encourage you to be all that you're to be on purpose, with strength, with leadership ability. Tell them to kick the road. BLM has sold us a lie. And it's an old lie. It's the same lie. CRT is selling the same thing. Getting you all hyped up about something that you never experienced at all. But you want it to be, because just like the boogeyman got to be under the bed. That's what I've been told. I never find him under there. The boogeyman got to be in the closet. He ain't ever in there when I look. But he's there. I know he's got to be there because I was told. Just like Santa Claus. That fat dude squeezes himself down the chimney or whatever. He's real because I was told. I ain't never seen him except for in the malls. And he never looks the same. You gotta walk away from this BLM. You gotta walk away from this CRT. Everything that's behind both of them and any ideology like it, as well as the democratic ideology, is nefarious intentions that only seek to tear the communities apart, tear families apart, which is the root of all communities and healthy, good communities. We got to walk away from it. Because if we don't, we'll continue to see the same thing. Continue to see the same thing and mourn the same loss over and over and over again. Make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe, keep it respectful. Peace, y'all.